Hi everybody, this is Matt from Algae Research and Supply, and I have my assistant here, and she has found a small snail. This is one of the critters that we're looking for today. This, who is now free again to go and do stuff.
There's literally nothing in it.
That little snail is a grazer. Now you're thinking to yourself,
there's nothing in it.
And there's nothing in it. That little snail was a grazer, and for those of you who have ever lived near a farm, grazers are things that eat plants. How can a snail be a grazer? There's no grass here. I don't see any grass. Do you see any grass?
Seagrass.
There's seagrass. Oh, she's very correct in that. Well, it turns out that there is a lot of photosynthesis that goes on right here in the ocean. Now, what is photosynthesis and why do I have to say that when I'm talking about grazers? Well, it has to start off with that big ball of burning plasma behind me. That great big ball of burning plasma puts out a whole bunch of high energy photons that travel for about what? I think it's 8 light minutes from the sun to get here. And then they bounce off my shiny side of my head and then they hit plants. And those plants can take those high energy photons and turn them into chemical energy through a process called photosynthesis. Oh, look at that. Yeah, no, that's a hermit crab actually. That's a scavenger. We'll talk about scavengers later too. So the plants that are here are called algae. Most plants in the ocean that grow in water are called algae. And there's microalgae, which are really tiny pieces of photosynthetic organism. And then there's macroalgae. So here's an example. I don't know if you can see this right here. Ah, it almost fell over. Here is, I'm gonna take a small sample of this. Here's some macroalgae. This looks like a laminaria. It's a brown algae. Yep, macroalgae. And then there's microalgae. So the algae are the primary producers, which means they're the first step. They are primary, meaning first step in doing, in taking energy from our great ball of burning plasma and turning it into organic molecules and organisms here on Earth. So once we have the biomass as a plant, the next thing that happens is that gets eaten. And one of the first organisms that eats it are the grazers. And just like my daughter had just found out, she found a snail. And now those snails are grazers, and they will generally go and rasp up little bits. They've got these little tongues that are called radulas, and they scrape up all the algae off rocks. As a matter of fact, a lot of times you can tell where a snail has been because they make a little clean section, like you see right here, where they've been going around, and they can scrape that up. Oh, there's one right there. We used to call these, this is a mossy chitin, which I think is a polyplacophora. There's another one right there. And they will go and they'll graze on the algae that grows right there. And so those are grazers. Those are big grazers. There's also other grazers like you might find a seashell like this. These guys live in the water and they filter feed, and they're trying to get not the macroalgae, but they're trying to get the microalgae that's growing in the water. And then they can take that algae from the water column and make new biomass here. So a lot of shellfish are primary grazers or grazers as well. So we've got primary producers, which are the plants, microalgae, macroalgae, and then we've got the grazers, which are the animals. Now, this is cool because we with our Brainy Briny kits, we can go ahead and mimic this by having the primary producers be the Nanochloropsis and the grazers be the brine shrimp. And that is another, that is a snail, yeah. That's a snail right there. She's found one, and that is a grazer, and it is hiding its foot right now trying to get back inside. So we're gonna give this grazer back to you, return him to the wild, and we will return you guys back to your wild classrooms. It's good to talk with all of you guys. Hey, stay curious.